Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about the uncertainties of life. More importantly, techniques to cope with the uncertainties of life. Many decades ago, my father told me, he said, "Hey, Atul, 80% of the things that are going to happen to you as you grow older, you cannot control." I did not understand it then, but as I grew older, I realized there are so many things in our life that are out of our control. For example, I cannot control when it rains. I cannot control the traffic on the streets. What I can control is how I react to those things. It also helps to learn some techniques to foster resilience, acceptance, etc. And I'm going to give you 5 such techniques today. Technique number 1 is to practice mindfulness and acceptance. And I've spoken about mindfulness before. I've called it mindful awareness. Be aware of your current surroundings and immerse yourself in your current surroundings. It's like, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm doing right now. I don't need to worry about what's going to happen next or what happened before. Right? I am in the here and now. I am present. Make the most of this moment. What has to happen will happen. What already happened, happened. Forget about it. And then the next part of this is acceptance. And acceptance does not mean resignation, does not mean, oh my God, I cannot do anything about it. Acceptance means, hey, this is how things are. Let me figure out a way to deal with them. Let me figure out a way to work with them rather than either resigning yourself or getting frustrated and fighting with the situation. Learn how to accept and deal with the situation. Technique number 2 is being flexible with your goals. It's very simple, right? For example, I'll give you my own example. I started off life getting 2 degrees, a bachelor's and master's in engineering. And at my first job, one of the people I worked with said, "Hey, dude, you're not an engineer, okay? You're either a program manager or a strategist or something else. You're not an engineer." Well, guess what I did, all right? I kept working, but I went and got my MBA and my PhD specializing in decision theory. And then I built a career in strategy, all right? My goal when I was growing up was to be an engineer. Oh, I want to be an engineer just like my dad, just like my uncle. Well, guess what? That wasn't to be. So you have to be flexible when life presents you with different options. Third technique is to, rather than focusing on what you cannot control, like, oh my God, it's raining, right? Or, oh my God, there's traffic. Focus on what you can control. For example, you can control whether you take an umbrella or not. Or if you don't have an umbrella, you can control whether you choose to get wet and say, oh, well, I'm going to get wet. Or, choose to say, it's raining, let me stand under a porch. I'll be 5 minutes late for something. So what? So figure out what you can control and do those things. Focusing on what you can control rather than what you cannot control will actually give you a sense of peace, a sense of acceptance, and help you cope with these things in life that are out of your control. So the next technique is practicing and maintaining a growth mindset. I've talked about a growth mindset in different contexts before, and I'm going to stress on it again. It is important. Today's world, technology is changing. Things are changing on a constant basis, right? I've used this example before, so sorry for repeating it, but if you look at my videos from 2014, my setup by today's standards was atrocious. I had this huge camera that plugged into my computer. I had a separate microphone that plugged in. I had a stand. I had all these gadgets, and still my videos looked grainy and things. And as technology changed over the last 10, 12, 13 years, I now have a gyro-stabilized thing. I forget what you call it, but I learned how to use it. It's attached to my phone. I have this little device with which I can click my phone on and off to record, and so many things. But rather than saying, oh my God, I cannot do this, I chose to practice a growth mindset and to learn how to use new things. Last but not the least, build a strong support network. Now, whether that be friends, family, co-workers, people who you can talk to, people who you can bounce ideas off, people who you can lean on. And I don't mean financially, right? But when things happen, it helps to ask somebody, hey, this is what is happening. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? You don't necessarily have to take their advice verbatim, but at least listen to other ideas. And you may not want ideas. You may just want to tell somebody, hey, this is what is happening right now. Just listen. So building a support network is the fifth and one of the most important steps in coping with the uncertainties of today's world. Hope you found this helpful.